to the first episode of the While You Were Sleeping podcast. I am your host, Terrell James, and I have Andre Gibson here with me. Um, Hopefully, you all caught our first interview on the Rorschach Test podcast. So, this is the first episode of this show. So, I'm going to explain to you and to everybody else exactly what it is that we're doing. So,
Okay.
it's called While You Were Sleeping. What I'm doing is so with the Rorschach Test podcast, we use your conscious mind to look at pictures and to analyze them and try to link it to what it is that you do for a living. This time, we're going to try to tap into your subconscious mind. So, I'm going to talk about things that you have that you have let's see manifesting things through dreams, through daydreams, through dreams and aspirations. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to focus on dreams. I want to focus on three types of dreams. So the dreams that you have when you're sleeping, the dreams that you have when you're daydreaming, and then your dreams and aspirations. I'm going to connect them all together and to what it is that you do. But I'm timing myself. I got to do this in 30 minutes. Okay?
Let's get it.
Okay. All right. So, first let me ask you, do you dream often?
Yes.
Okay. Before we get into that, and listen, this is my first episode of this one. I had this idea. I got that idea to do this podcast 3 days ago. So I'm still, as we're recording, I'm still putting the show together.
Yes, sir.
All right, so there could be a couple of missteps. What happened just now was a misstep. I meant to say, please, and I know that you already did it on the Rorschach Test podcast, but I want to just to remind the people who may have seen it and may have forgotten, or if there's somebody who has not seen the Rorschach Test podcast with our interview, hopefully they'll go back and see it. But just remind the people exactly what it is that you do.
Okay. Anya Gibson, the owner of Shore Running Self Defense. The business is a self defense. Is a self defense platform that teaches kids from the age 6 and up, with boxing, defending themselves, to adults with knife away and knife takeaways, all the stuff that you need, just the confidence to defend yourself. We also have another division, which is the firearms division, where we teach you how to actually shoot. We teach you how to defend your household, and we give you a license. So in Maryland, you need something called a HQL, which is your license to purchase a firearm. If you don't live in Maryland and you need a concealed carry permit or a license, we are the business for you. We are the ones that's going to give you that license and the training, knowledge, and experience to be comfortable at home.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to link your dreams, whether they're childhood dreams, um, dreams that you had as an adult, because I believe that our dreams have a huge impact on what we do when we're awake. Because I believe that while we're sleeping, that God or the higher power, whatever people want to call their higher power, even people who don't necessarily believe in a higher power, I do believe that when you're sleeping, you are at a point where your mind is completely susceptible to receiving things.
Hmm.
And, for me personally, because I do believe in God um, and for you as well, because I know that you do believe in God, I
Yeah.
believe that this is the time where God communicates with us.
Hmm.
My spiritual advisor actually told me one time. I was explaining to him one time that I would have these dreams and I didn't understand a lot of them. Some things just didn't make sense to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Same
And he said,
interpretation.
right, exactly. And he said, when you wake up and you have a dream that has upset you, or if it's just something that is just completely inexplicable, then ask God, what are you trying to tell me? What do you want me to get from this dream? So that's what I started doing. And sometimes God can be confusing. God can be really, really confusing. I'm gonna tell you a funny. the funny thing about this, and I probably shouldn't be wasting too much time because I only have 30 minutes to try to link everything that you're doing with your dreams.
No,
But
it's
I
all
want
good.
to, because it's the first episode, I do want to talk about how I got the idea for this podcast. So what happened was I had a dream 3 nights ago that it didn't really make any sense at all, but it was very upsetting. Um, I've had a lot of very upsetting and unsettling dreams, even since I was a kid. A lot of dreams that I remember from my childhood, but I started to connect the dots, and certain things started to make sense. Other things, not so much. But but what happened was the other night I had this dream that my I dreamed that there was this kid, he was an adorable little kid. He was probably about 6 years old, but he had murdered somebody.
Mm,
And I was trying to comfort him. I was trying to talk to this kid, but he was just so he seemed so oblivious. He seemed so innocent. Just very it was this just this innocence, the innocence that you expect from a 6-year-old. And he just seemed unaware of what he did. His parents his parents acted as if they didn't want anything to do with him after he committed the murder. So and he just happened to be in front of my house.
mm,
So I'm trying to comfort this kid, trying to talk to him, trying to figure out exactly what it is that has gotten him to that point. So then I had to run in the house. When I ran in the house, I was standing in my bedroom and I was looking out the window, and I saw that all of these evil spirits were trying to get into my home. Now, I wasn't worried because and this is something that I do anyway. No, this isn't just a dream. Anytime I have a new home or even a new vehicle, I get holy oil and I bless it and I pray over all of the entrances.
yeah.
And then of course, with the vehicle, bless the doors, but I bless the entire car. But yeah, I pray over it, and I truly believe that because of that, there are no evil spirits that are allowed to come into my home.
Yep. Don't give them permission.
Right, exactly. So I was standing in my bedroom. I was looking into my backyard, and I saw these evil spirits, and there was only so far they could even really come into the yard because the blessings were overflowing from the house into the yard, and they couldn't get any closer. But for some reason, I felt that I needed, and me being the man of my house, I needed to be in the house to protect the house.
Mm,
But then I got word that my wife was across the street and she was dealing with some sort of distress. So now I needed to leave the house. I needed to leave the house that I needed to protect, walk by this little kid that I felt that I needed to protect, to go protect my wife. When I woke up, I was really confused about that dream. Like, what in the world? And I asked God, I said, God, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me here? And, and God, with his sense of humor and in all of his mysteriousness, decided to say, do a dream podcast. I'm like, you could have told me that a different way. That dream was way too upsetting.
yeah.
But you like, but and maybe he needed me to maybe he needed to come to me in a way or present it in a way that really grabbed my attention,
Yeah.
because that's what that dream did. It grabbed my attention. But I'm like, okay, why is this little cute 6-year old kid killing people? Why are these bad spirits trying to infiltrate my home? Why is my
Mm,
wife in distress? And why am I responsible for all of this at the same time? What exactly is it that you're trying to tell me?
mm.
Go do a dream podcast. All right, God, got you. No problem. We're here now. So got you. I'm gonna be
Well,
obedient.
yeah,
So
yeah, definitely, definitely.
so we're here now. So I want to ask you, do you uh I think I asked you already, but do you dream often?
Yes.
Okay. Do you oftentimes remember your dreams?
When it's something that's significant like yours, then yeah.
Okay.
I have one that I still remember, and this happened probably like 3 or 4 years ago,
Mhm.
maybe longer than that now. That I still remember to this day, kind of how it plays out. Yeah. What you may talk
You know,
about it?
yeah, sure.
I was like, all right, all right. So it's kind of like similar to not similar to yours, but um, so it's basically about the world ending. So out driving, I don't like I want to say it's my home. So I was driving into my home just before I pulled them into my garage. So I have a home that had a garage. I put them to the garage. Like literally word from the Bible, it was a crack at the sky, a bright flash. It appears that God came down on the horse, and I actually see it. And then next thing you know, I don't see people going up or nothing like that. But when that happened, I end up in this tent. So I'm in the tent, and I'm in the tent with a lot of people. I don't remember seeing like actual people that I know personally, but I'm in the tent with people that I know, and we're just waiting, and then everybody's freaking out trying to find their significant others, kids, husband, wives, and all that. And we're just in the tent, just chilling, pretty much. And people don't know what's going on. Some people was like, "What is this?" And I'm just thinking like, this is in the book of Revelations when the world ends, and then it's Judgment Day. So, how a little bit about the Bible, how it speaks about when God comes down, the people is called up to meet Him, and then it's Judgment Day, or then they go through a period of time where Satan is able to rule the world. So, anyway, I'm in this tent, and it's Judgment Day, and I'm waiting to be called. And then it appears when I'm back in the world, and the world is going off. Like it's harder. Like I find myself honestly knowing what's going on now. So I'm praying. I'm like trying to do everything to get to heaven because I'm like, this is bad. Like I don't know what this is, but I don't like it. And I don't find out like it's no end to the story. It's no like I'm in heaven or whatnot. So I don't know what that looks like at all. But it was just crazy how I was just driving into my home, and then the sky just opens, cracks open, God comes down, and then I'm just in the tent, and people are just going crazy, and I'm just like, I know exactly what's going on, and some people around me don't, and yeah, I still remember it just like that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
just about like 6 years ago, man.
So you're driving. Let me ask you something. 6 years ago, is that when you went into the military?
Actually, yeah. Yep,
Okay.
that's when I joined the military.
Okay.
Like I said, this was around the same time where I finally got my life together because
Mhm.
my life was like a little, not gonna say bad, but but it wasn't on the straight path.
Mhm.
And then I joined the military, and this was like around that time. Like I was having those dreams and all the kind of things that happened to me, and but yeah.
Mhm. So what it seems now, listen, I am not qualified to be a dream interpreter, but who is? I mean, do you go to school for this? I mean, so, but this isn't necessarily about me interpreting dreams. This is about me connecting dreams to what it is that you do.
Sure.
So, at that point in your life, you had made a decision to go into the military, but prior to being in the military, things were a bit chaotic.
Mhm.
That is the chaos that was going on when you pulled up to your home in your dream. You pull up to the home and
Mhm.
you said the sky cracked, and so there was a bunch of chaos. There was confusion. There was panic. All of these things that you were dealing with at that time in your life. And then you went into a tent. That tent, while you were in that tent, what happened?
It was just still people trying to find their loved ones. It was some more commotion. It was kind of like a line, like you were just waiting
Mhm.
to see if you get called to enter heaven.
So there were a group of people. It was, you weren't in there by yourself.
No,
Okay.
no. At first I was, and then
Okay.
know how you're somewhere. Well, you don't know, but it's like Sims. Like you're somewhere, then a whole bunch of people just started to pop up
Hmm.
and look around.
Hmm.
But like it happened so fast that it was just me there,
Hmm.
and then feeling like a whole bunch of people just popped there too.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm.
they were trying to find their loved ones.
Where was
Just curious.
where was the tent in relation to your home?
It wasn't in my home. Like it was somewhere different.
Okay,
It
so
was like it just took me to another spot.
got you.
Like it
Okay.
wasn't like the tent outside
Hmm.
around back. It was like when you blink, like you
Hmm.
blink and then you're in
And
like
then you all of a sudden somewhere
yeah,
else.
yeah,
Right. Okay. Okay. So you went from your home to a tent, which would it seemed like a waiting area.
yeah,
There were and the people were waiting to see if they were going to make it into heaven.
yeah.
Um,
But
that
some people was confused. Like they're
Mhm,
like some people don't even know what was going on.
mhm.
So it was kind of like both.
It seems like that was an obedient circle. The people who were obedient were the ones that were called to go to heaven. The other people, they were confused. They didn't know exactly what was going on, but they probably had not made the right decisions or they had not been obedient. You clearly were one of the obedient ones. Um, that seems like and then of course in real life you went into the military,
Yeah,
you were obedient, you did what God said. I no longer want you in this place, I want you to go to this place.
yeah.
So in the blink of an eye,
And my life changed, man.
in the blink of an eye, your life changed and you found yourself in a tent. How many times were you in tents in the military?
Ooh, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still intense in the military
Okay.
at times.
Okay. All right. Cool. And sometimes you find yourself in these tents and there could be chaos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Now I'm starting to picture. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's chaos. There's confusion.
Yep.
Okay.
Loneliness. You're trying to
Loneliness.
get back home.
Hmm. Right. Yep. Yep. Because in the blink of an eye, you're snatched away from your home
Yep.
and then you just want to get back.
No service.
Yeah. Yeah. But sometimes, uh, in being obedient to God, sometimes He puts us in places of discomfort.
That's what I was ready to say without trying to jump the gun.
Mhm.
Honestly, because I'm in the reserves, so I'm in the Army Reserves, and um, when we go away annually, I find that my spiritual moments because my life is now on pause because I'm working now for the government, strictly the government for that period of time, and I find myself getting closer to God. I find me blocking out a lot of things, and it's uncomfortable. Like people around me, like want to call home, and I'm just like, we're eating crazy, nasty food,
Mhm.
like the Emery stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? It's not that bad, and even in the midst of my my discomfort, my coldness in the
Mhm.
tent freezing, I'm like, I'm steady reading up on his word and I'm getting closer to him. And then I feel recharged. So when I come back home,
Mhm.
I'm ready to hit the ground, running, hit the ground, doing something different
Mhm.
or doing on what I couldn't do before I left. Now I have the confidence and the courage
Mhm.
to now come home and just get through that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I got a little less than 12 minutes to try to make this
Okay.
happen. So all right. So let's move on from the dreams.
Okay.
Let's move to daydreams now.
Okay.
Okay. When do you ever just find yourself just sitting just daydreaming?
Yeah, at times I do.
And what type of things do you daydream about?
It's normally like my business. Like I feel like when I daydream about things, it's pertaining to like what's ready to happen next.
Okay.
Like it's like have you ever watched like That's So Raven?
No.
Like so That's So Raven show was like a female who could see in the future. So I feel
I
like
mean, I'm
like
familiar with the show,
okay,
but
so
I'm
you familiar?
40. So
Okay, so but it's old now. But anyway,
right.
so like I felt like a lot of my daydreams was like hers, like things that's didn't even happen,
Mhm.
and then I find it happening. Like
Okay.
it's like I could daydream about something, like, and it's not like now, it's not like every single time, but it'd be random,
Mhm.
and then like maybe a year or so, or a couple months, or maybe a week later, it happens.
Mhm.
Something like similar to that dream.
Mhm.
So
So that they and you kind of just get lost in your thoughts
yeah,
and what
like just
and
stare off in
your thoughts
space.
they just kind of go on. It's not like you're even guiding them. You're not consciously guiding your thoughts. They're
No.
just going on. Okay, so which brings us to your dreams and aspirations. So when it comes to the things that you want to accomplish, what first let me ask you this: what is your definition of success?
Yeah, everybody definition different. Mine's is honestly like just being blessed. I feel like now I'm successful. Like if God does nothing else for me, I'm okay.
Hmm.
Success is like really what that person wants to accomplish. It's not on nobody else um platform but yours. Like somebody could be successful just because like they work a 9 to 5 job and their family is healthy. Like that's successful to them.
Hmm.
For me, it's to break a generational wealth. It's to me is to it's kind of more spiritual in the way of like to break a curse, things that happen to my family's past, to a lot of men in my family.
Hmm.
Successful is just making sure that my family is wealthy and not rich, but everybody's healthy, wealthy.
Right.
I could pass something down to my kids.
Hmm.
That's my real success. It's not a dream job for me
Hmm.
because what I'm doing now was not even in my plans, wasn't even in my vision.
Hmm.
It's crazy how things just happens. It turns
Right.
for you.
Yeah. So when you were having those daydreams, did you did those daydreams, because we said that your thoughts kind of they just went on their own.
Right.
So did your daydreams lead you to the place where you are now? Like
Oh
did you
yeah.
see them? Did you envision these things? And then now you eventually you ended up there.
Yeah. Like every single time.
Hmm.
Like now I'm really thinking back. It's like where I'm at now, even for the job, my government job that I work for that we talked about in the last podcast. Um, like I failed the polygraph the first time. And then I had a day like I dreamed about it, like me passing it, like the next time, and I didn't think that there was gonna be a next time, but I just had that vision of me passing that and actually working there, and it happened. Like I could like I seen myself doing that. So
Right. Yeah.
um, and even with like this business, not how big it is, like I don't have a vision of like the whole platform, but it's just bits and pieces.
Hmm.
Um, so it's kind of cool how God speaks to you.
Hmm. Yeah. And then your subconscious just begins to manifest it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Um. Boy, that was easy. I was able to connect them all three, connect all three. Because so I can connect everything. In the beginning, it was chaotic. Going from your dream and real life. In the beginning, it was chaotic. You would go to your home, but in order for you to your home was a false sense of security, because what was happening was you were getting up, you were leaving this place, and then you were going to a place that you didn't necessarily want to work,
Hmm.
and you knew that that wasn't for you, and then you'd come back home. Because you were always able to come back home, it was easy for you to go back to that place. But in that dream, you had to be snatched away from your home and put into a place of discomfort.
Hmm.
And that's what happened. I imagine that when you first got into the military, it wasn't the most comfortable thing.
Yeah. The thing is, so I have 2 kids now, but my son, I didn't even see him born. Like I was away. So when I first met him, he was like 3 to 4 weeks old,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just staring at this dude like, "Who was you?" Because I
Mm-hmm.
left
Mm-hmm.
at a time where I missed the baby shower, I missed all that.
Yeah. Right.
So
That's rough.
while I was away, it was hard, like trying to think about because I'm a family person. Like
Right.
even how I
I
am
could
now,
tell.
like me and my girlfriend, well, fiance, wife, whatever people want to call it. We're not married yet, but we speaking it. But even with her, it's like we have kids, not together, but we have a family,
Right.
and I'm protective over them. I'm just a family person. Like I put my family before myself at times,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was hard to deal with my child mother going through that by herself to get the pictures from my mom and just not knowing like is everything all right back home because there's no texting, there's no
Mm-hmm.
phone calls.
Right.
When you're writing, you could write them and then they'll get back to you in like 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big time frame,
Right.
and so it was just tough. So it was really hard. But honestly, when I was away, like it seemed like when I'm always away from God, and that's why I feel like that at times He does stuff for a reason. Like He'll take me away because I work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Where He's like, I'm not gonna get you by yourself unless I snatch you. So I
Hmm.
feel like the when he took me into the boot camp, um, he didn't like have me like sitting there, but he had me away from everybody, and I grew so much in my faith, man. Like
Hmm.
I came back like a changed man. Like I felt like that I became a soldier and like a reborn Christian at the same time. Like
Hmm.
I didn't know the word from my pastor, but for me, like you had to be spiritually in your mind, like disciplined to wake up to go to the chaplain, which we had chaplain service, or you could sleep in. But each Sunday, I choose to, not my mom, my dad, but I chose to get up to go to chaplain service, and the church service was different from what I'm used to back home.
Hmm.
It was just different, but I found I found him during that time.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay. Yeah. And so you went from a place of discomfort to, because of your obedience to God, you found yourself in a really, really comfortable place.
yeah,
You found yourself in a position where the noise had been quieted, the chaos was put to the side,
hmm,
and then you were able to daydream. And then you allowed your thoughts to take you to places that were heading to your success.
yeah,
So that's the connection from the dreams to the daydreams. From the daydreams to your dreams and aspirations, that is where you currently are right now. And if you go back and connect the dots to that dream that you had, I think it all makes sense. And I think I just pulled it
hey,
off.
let's get it.
All right, man. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, thank you for whoever is listening. Um, it's been real, man. Like I said, this is my first podcast. This podcast was amazing. This experience was dope. Um, it's just a blessing, man.
Yeah, well, I thank you for coming, man. It's been a blessing for me too having you here. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah,
We'll have to
definitely,
do it
definitely,
again.
definitely.
You have more things coming. I
Yeah,
know that there's an
well,
anointing on your life. I know you have more things coming, and the more you have,
yeah,
the more I'll have you on the show so you can
yeah.
talk about it all.
Like honestly, man, just sit tight, fasten your seatbelt. If you follow me on Facebook, not like I'm a celebrity or nothing, because I'm I'm just a guy who's from the Eastern Shore. I'm nobody, guys. But if you follow me, stay tuned. I promise you. When God wants to reveal it about a month or two, it's about to be crazy. Like it's crazy. Like it gets me excited. Like
So, for the people who may not have seen the first episode, let them know where they can find you.
okay, so you can find me on Facebook, um, at Andre Gibson Jr. But definitely follow the business, Sure Awareness Self Defense on Facebook. You can follow us on IG at SASDMD. You can follow us and subscribe to us on our website page at www.sasdmd.com. And this is where you get all your training, your firearms at. We'll see you soon. We are a family. So our quota there is SASD family. So if you don't have a family, we are your family. We don't care the color of your skin, how old you are. Come be a part of the family. Let's learn together.
Sounds good. All right. Now, thank